Turning on my stream again. Back-to-back cast.
Top Shot is on DH. Maybe that's why they lost a round.
Wasn't Down to Pound gonna die or something?
I thought so.
They were gonna die, but they're back to life. Back to life, back to back. Oh my god. This is so intense.
They're crawling out of that grave like I am.
They're crawling out of the
Biggest
grave.
matchup here is Doggles versus Puff.
Oh, Puff's playing on the other team? Damn.
Yeah.
I gotta change my stream title. Holy crap.
Launching TF2.
Update stream broadcast. Wow.
Are you gonna guest cast, Cade?
No thanks.
It's too late. You're already on the stream. Oh my god, it's everybody who hates TF2 together. Okay, what's somebody's name on Steam so I can like actually get the server info? Oh, Tyler Stoggles. Okay, good. Got it.
Gotta get that huge status monitor that misses the suicides.
Yeah, I was like clicking around too much. I should have just believed in the huge status monitor. But we're back. We're in. I gotta like make a. I'll wait for the end of the round, but I'll go make a post that says I'm still casting. I guess because this is. I thought Down to Pound was gonna have an easy time of this, but it looks like they're on the verge of losing another round here. Control F Muffin, hero defense, but no. Six cuties.
Six cuties had an excellent push there. They exchanged evenly. They got their combo out. And then they re-pushed with a surprise heavy that got a pick and led to that second push, which was successful.
You can take this mid here while I send announcements and post and stuff. My camera autos.
I don't know what's going on. Puff is a little slow to mid, and Down to Pound has taken really great position. But perhaps Doggle's getting a little too aggressive and dying before his team is there to back up his jump.
As I flick over, get some game sound back on here. We have Control F Muffin, nice cleanup sticky there, but looks like there's still a little bit of fight going back and forth here, but Down to Pound look like they have a solid position on this mid. Six cuties is gonna back out and sit back onto their two, so there you go.
Yeah, Down to Pound had an excellent opening from that mid and then almost threw it away by jumping all the way into the enemy side when the scouts weren't pushed up across the point to follow it up yet. But they still ended up taking it.
Yeah, there we go. Now I have my announcements posted, my posts announced, and I'm ready to take the play-by-play once again. So, even Ubers, let's see how these teams have to push. The last game we saw was very, very passive, ended up in all suicides to break the stalemates. Let's see if Down to Pound is a little bit more down to push. Oh, I hurt myself sometimes. But no, we're just chilling the stalemate, so what else to do than just send the puns in?
I think Doggles is gonna get bored and go do something.
Yeah, that's the prediction from Stratmaster Cade.
Well, that's me.
Yeah. But huge spam on choke. They have like one scout that's leading this in, and he actually kills that scout. Wow. Oh
okay.
My god, TF2. TF2. Oh no! It's so strong. The scout just runs in front of all the spam and just DMs the other scout because all the spam is focused on the choke still, not shooting at the scouts because they want to prevent the combo from coming in behind because the threat of that's still there, and that is.
I think that's an excellent alternative.
It's the ball push, man. It's the ball push. It's so good.
You run your scout in there. You let him see if he can, do something. If he doesn't, then that's even better than the soldier suicide in that you're only down a scout. If they do attempt to re-push mid, both the scout doesn't contribute as much to the spam on choke, as well as he's back faster from the suicide.
Yeah, that's strong. They peter out on last here, but I mean their medic's fine. I really like this style. You buffer with the team, you buffer with the scouts, and you let the medic just chill out. There's no pressure on your combo ever, and you just get to do all kinds of work. So Down to Pound holding two here, even Ubers for all intents and purposes, and we were waiting for their move onto last, which, I mean, they can do the same thing. You can do that push on every single point in this game where you lead the scouts and you have the combo follow. It works everywhere. It doesn't matter, so maybe it doesn't work on junction. That's about it. But there you go. I mean, Scout in kills the Engineer with a support spam from the Soldier, so now it's 6v5, up to down to pound what they want to do. Their health's a little low, so they're buffing up a little bit first, but Uber coming in through the doors doesn't really manage to get on too much. That Heavy is not going to be too phased by a Soldier in his face, especially with a flash or two. But, I mean, Doggle's dead, whatever. I'm sure DBW, yeah, DBW's fine. Maybe not. She's going back in with 12 health. Not maybe the safest decision I've ever seen, but oh my god. Okay, so what I was saying about it works if, you know, you have that buffer for your medic and you actually back out, but that push was not going to work, and going back in there was a little overeager.
Well, they did a couple things right and one big thing wrong in that it was really nice that they put that scout in there, but then they waited too long to go in with their combo, and then they also blindly popped on the door. But then, you know, going back, and another thing they did right is that they got everybody out and then tried the second push, and the second push failed. They died because they committed to that second push, but it wasn't quite as bad as dying to committing to a bad Uber.
It's true, and they could go right now if they want. I mean, they have a kill. There's no Ubers in play, so they can just do the same buffering style that we saw them do before. Decimate and UKM in deep there. They're doing a lot of damage. I mean, Decimate's dead, so they're just gonna back up now. Actually, they're on crits, so this is less sensical because they have this crits advantage, and they should have had the scout up to use this. But nonetheless, you know, trying to make a play doesn't hurt. They get the medic with the first crit sticky, and that is going to seal the deal. There's no way that 6 Cuties is going to defend this unless we have the biggest TF2 moment I've ever seen in my life. And it's starting to happen. It's unfolding before my eyes.
TF2 moment you've seen in your life.
Oh my god.
It would have been awfully nice to have that scout there at the end of that fight.
It's TF2. It's TF2. What's going on?
Here goes Decimate. Decimate Cam.
He's there. He's on last. He doesn't get it.
Attribute that fail push to not having that scout there at the end of that fight. Just having that one extra person there after getting 2 picks would like 99.9% insured rather than like 99%.
Yes. There you go.
Not that they should have failed anyways, but it would have been that much more certain with that scout there.
Yeah. Also, I gotta say, they overcommitted the medic on it once again. Like, I thought they were, you know, sure to win, but when you're that sure to win, you don't need to run your medic to point either. Your medic can just be like at a door and you'll still win, because medics do nothing. After the crits are shot, what's the point? 24 health a second? May as well shoot some arrows. But down to pound, I mean, they fail the last push, doesn't matter, they just take the 2 back, so time after time again, we're going to see them with different approaches to this. What do we got? Sakura, no Uber ready, crits is incoming on the door. They kind of went a bit too early here, but I don't think it's going to matter too much unless this Pyro flats a crit. Look at the crit guy! Oh my god. No, don't jump on the point! Okay.
Oh, that makes a little bit more sense.
I lie.
About to run out.
Yeah, time makes that push make sense, but it doesn't make the last push make sense, so my criticisms remain partially valid. But yeah, that makes sense, because I was criticizing them for coming in the door too early, like right before they had crits. They could have just waited another second, but time was at like 10 seconds at that point, so they kind of had to. So I'm sorry, I'm overly harsh. But another 2-1 first half in favor of 6 Cuties, who, from the part that I watched, I mean, despite the fact that they won a round right when I came in, it felt like Down to Pound was absolutely crushing them with those nice like scout buffered type pushes, those ball pushes. But they just kept overcommitting on the last. It's like the entire point of that push is that you don't ever have to commit your combo. Like, your medic can just stay 10 miles away from everything and you never die unless things go like really, really badly in terms of DM. But they commit for the slightly better chance of winning, but in the event of a failure they lose stuff and, you know, take a bunch of time having to retake 2. But I mean, I tend to favor Down to Pound, just from how they've been playing those rounds. Like, they're so close to just running their opponents over. Even though they're losing, I think they're going to take the second half.
Yeah, at least they're doing some things right. you know, we can complain a little here and there about what they're doing after the initial scout running in, but I feel like that it'll be enough to overcome the 6 cuties team.
Yeah. And I mean, even if your combo does overcommit, if your scouts just do a lot of work, it just works. But that's true for everything. If your scouts do a lot of work, everything you do works. They're crushing this mid, by the way. 6 cuties did not make it out of their corner. DBW goes down, but that's not going to matter. They're going to get this mid, and they're going to kill everybody. And that might turn into 2. Yeah, with this much cap time, this should turn into 2 for down to pound. And then it's going to be up to them how they want to push last. If I was them, I would just buff everybody and run in, and then keep the combo like pretty far back. Probably based out of the lobby doors, just throwing spam while the scouts, you know, get an attempt to do work. If the scouts kill somebody, then you win the round. If the scouts die, you walk away, and then you try again with Uber. That's how it goes. That's probably what we're going to see. Although Doggles on heavy and the crits Krieg, okay, that invalidates what I said. They should wait for crits since they're critzing. And this should be a crit demo, and then they switch it to a heavy, like after 2 or 3 shots, so that when somebody jumps on them, they're really sad because they get crit for like 100 and I don't know. How much does a heavy bullet do when it's crit? Like 120, I want to say, per bullet?
I don't know. He actually shoots out 4 bullets per ammo.
Yeah. I know like the 4 combined is like 50. Anyways, it's a lot of damage, and the person that jumps is going to be really sad. So here's the crit demo. There's a couple shots. Now switch it. No, get away, they Ubered. Alright, crit heavy. Well, there's Uber people, so it didn't quite work out, but DW manages to get away. That scout's not going to be able to kill her. And the cleanup coming in. See, they don't care. The medic's already gone. It's like man mode into the point. UKM and DBW out safe. And 6 cuties is going to cap 2, but then I almost guarantee you that down to pound is just going to go back in, because bronze is still spawning. There's one other guy that spawned, that's Ricky. You can kind of see his health falling as he jumps in there. So this is... I lied, because I thought they were going to get forward spawns.
Enough, I think.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be forward spawns.
They're really good at sort of like a whole like team coordination point of view. They were really quick to all get out there and cap 2, which is excellent.
If the cap had been a second slower, it would have been forwards, and this would be a different story. But still, they have to deal with this crits coming in. Just coming in a bit delayed, because they still had an advantage. And now, since they delayed it a bit, they should know that there's an Uber in their face. So yeah, they take the shots, they back out. They get the enemy Demo Man, which is big, but overcommit from the medic means she's going to die. But medic for Demo, time to attack. Here comes Doggles at the choke. He brings both scouts on him for a while, which is good for him. But where the heck are the scouts from down to pound? They need to do something here, and whatever, I can't find them, but a little bit, just basically a all-out brawl, a little bit uncoordinated from down to pound there. I think Doggles was like, man mode, let's go, and the rest of the team was not quite there in time because the scouts weren't in with him, and what he did was really good if it had afforded his scouts the ability to get close and start landing some meat shots, but you know, there you go. And that's, again, it's overcommit from the combo. Like, you shouldn't lose your medic crits versus Uber when you have the liberty of being so far away from them when it begins, although perhaps they thought it was still an advantage. I don't know. I can see the percentages on the side of my screen, they can't, so it's tougher for them.
Yeah, this seems quite similar to the game we just watched, where one team seems to have better game knowledge and better teamwork, and the other team just has vastly superior DM and just wins all the mids and makes up, and then maybe the draw.
That hurts me deep inside, and that's gonna be deep down to pound just cleaning this up here. Is this still crits? No, it's Uber, so that's even better because she can just pop if she gets jumped on mid here. And 6 cuties would probably be wise just to back up. They're not going to make anything happen with this many down already. If you have more people, then maybe you could do something, but Puff also getting caught on choke means 2 is going to be really easy because there's no demo spam to slow down to pound as they enter this corner. The scout jumping in ahead, he's like, yeah, there's nothing here. You guys can come in for free. No pressure on down to pound's combo at all, and easy peasy. There's 3, 4, and what should turn into 5 if they, you know, all they need to do is like walk forward, eventually right click like around now, there you go, and this should be it. All they need is a scout to walk on point and this round's over. But a scout didn't walk on point, and now the Uber's done, and now they have to deal with the heavy, so there you have it. This is how the last defense works on this point. Like, you either kill stuff with the Uber, or you push them back, and they push them back, but you have enough time to cap if you're on it right away, but the scouts weren't quite there, and therefore 6Cutie is able to defend, take their 2 back, and DBW, did she either die? Yeah, she died because she's like right by forward right now, I think. Either way, it's the same. Big disadvantage for down to pound, and 6Cuties will take mid here. Down to pound probably just look to force the Uber and give up mid for the Uber, and then try their own repush.
Surprisingly, I think that was more of a DM fail pushing last. There were things to kill that were out of position and not, you know, tucked way back, and were able to threaten somebody getting on point, and they just need to kill those people, and they didn't.
Yeah, well that happens sometimes too. Aggressive Uber from 6Cuties there, that's an effective way to repush this. We talked earlier in the previous game about how when you try to intimidate them back and fail, it doesn't work very well, but they did not try to intimidate them. This Uber. This Uber was in with the intent to kill. As a result, they have a lot of cap time. They do lose some people to down to pound's repush, and this is getting dangerous because down to pound is really close, but it's too early. They're going to drop their pocket before the Uber, and that's really bad. They're going to get this Uber on Control F Muffin, but it doesn't matter. He can't kill these people. He's got no stickies loaded. He can't kill them all, and the forward spawns are going to come from 6Cuties, so nice play from them there, knowing purposefully, like, down to pound's going to be looking to force. None of that bullshit. We're going to play fast, and we are going to get the point with our Uber. We're going to give up the Uber for the point, and it worked out for them, because now this repush is going to be extremely strong. Down to pound spawns are not there in time, and 6Cuties, they could go, but they're not manly enough, and down to pound spawns make it there.
To just wait for this advantage, and they also weren't sure if they were going to be able to get that scout out who was stuck in, who did a nice job getting out.
I would have gone on, it was like effectively 6v3 because of the back spawns from down to pound, because they were only 3 up there. It's way easier to work with 6v3 than it is to work with Uber against no Uber. I mean, still, I think this has worked. They're going to get the point, but they could have had the point with a bigger Uber advantage, unless they killed DBW, but she manages to live. And nice retake from 6Cuties. I criticized them a bit, but it's more of an opinion thing on that than you know, anything else. Kind of caught out there, losing their soldier there, Ricky, going down, and feel like, yeah, this was bad positioning from down to pound to fight at this choke. They should have fought back behind 2 so that they had time to get their spawns in. Now their Uber did nothing. They're trying to make something, they're trying to force a play off of it, and they're getting some kills, actually killing both scouts. It validates everything I said, because now 6Cuties can't come back into this, so yeah, never mind, I'm dumb.
Yeah, that was kind of another one of those in-between things with down to pound Uber. Either they could have been a bit further back to not get forced, or they could have just said, okay, we're going to get forced, we're going to run this Uber in and, you know, kill things with it. But apparently it didn't matter, because even after the Uber was over, the scouts went down.
Yeah, and actually medics, well, they both go down, but mainly the fact that Sakura went down puts down to pound in a great position here. We're just going to see them push last, and I think their last pushes are a bit stronger than what we saw out of IM from the previous match, just because their scout usage is a bit different. IM was trying to play like a blind, heavy oriented type push, like a combo led push, but down to pound is much more fluid, and aside from losing their medic on pushes when they really shouldn't, I feel like their pushes have a much better chance to work because their scout usage is more effective. We have Auburn running Spy. I'm going to find that. In spawn, he's checking the enemy if it's crits.
Yeah, that's something that's sort of underused. I don't think there's anything, there's no downside to doing that.
Yeah. And basically, if you don't know what that's all about, when you disguise as Spy, you can see like what the enemy weapon is that you're holding. So you pull out your sapper and disguise as enemy medic, and you disguise with like the medi gun, and then you can see like if it's the Kritzkrieg or the Uber charge or whatever. So that's what they did, and now so they know it's Uber coming from down to pound. So that's a good call. We have a slow push coming in from down to pound. They don't want to pop on the door. See, the scouts are leading in, so there's way less pressure on the combo, and they haven't had to use Uber yet. What 6C should have done is probably taken the Uber into them to force them a lot faster, but this is still working out okay for them, especially because DBW got caught like really badly at the end of the Uber there. Should have taken a different route, more off to the side, and not had that happen to her. And now everything is just crumbling for down to pound. that kind of push works really well if your medic doesn't die, but she died, so that's unfortunate, and now they're going to lose 2. And probably mid. Like, this is going to be a really big Uber advantage, even if 6 get up for down to pound. The Uber advantage from Sakura is huge, so they can just, you know, basically walk through the choke, pop if there's somebody there, and then cap mid, because down to pound will be zoned. But Sakura dies the top shot. My camera work failing me once again. DBW dropping as well, so it's actually just a 4v4 DM fight on mid. Slight favor to DTP here. Their DM has been serving them well this match, but they're starting to fall apart here. It's 2v2, and the main thing here is the forward spawns from down to pound are going to be in a lot quicker, and now it's just Ricky versus the world consisting of only 2 people. It's been depopulated a little bit, but nice health grab, but that scout was not gonna die. 4 health on Decimate there, and that one shoddy snapshotty not quite able to pick him up, but it wouldn't have mattered much anyways, because down to pound spawns are overwhelming in this position. They wouldn't have got mid. Ricky's gonna be back up, so it's just kind of a, do you get a frag vid clip on your scout or not? And he doesn't, so too bad for him.
Again, we see medics dying to solo bombers when their team is nowhere near, and that's the surest way to lose any momentum you have in a round.
Yeah, and down to pound able to take 4, and I don't know, I'm starting to feel like they're less strong on these lasts because they keep, you know, having deaths that they shouldn't be having, but they're playing it almost really well. Look, oh my gosh, Control F Muffin just goes in and kills the heavy. Like, they're just so confident. Those pipes, the DM, they don't need Uber, they're just gonna crush this. They just kind of come in the doors together as a team. Their scouts lead things off, and then, you know, that's that. This Uber will not buy enough time for spawns. Maybe the heavy gets to come back up, but it's not gonna make a difference. 3v5 is just as bad as 2v5, and that's a round evening it up, 2-2. I gotta watch some demos on mid. I've just been clicking to like the status monitor, dude, but we gotta see some of these rollouts. So I'm checking out Control F Muffin. He gets the first surf and fails the second surf. That one's tough though. So he opts to go right side. This is to avoid stickies from the enemy demo trying to take his own health. Opts for the small health instead and gets some good damage out onto Puff. So nice play from him so far. Now we have the bombs coming in, but big pipes, rockets onto Ricky, takes him down. Doggle's going down in exchange, so it's an even fight. Decimate's down. That's a big deal. Not having that second scout for cleanup is huge, and down to pound now crumbling. UKM only at 3 HP, picked off by a shot, and that's Control F Muffin now falling apart. So nice job from 6 Cuties there. That kill onto Decimate, my camera wasn't quite on it, but that was the turning point there. When he went down, there was really not much hope, and 6 Cuties dominating on that mid. I think they only lost 1 soldier that entire time, and that's going to probably turn this into a last pretty soon. Leaving 1 scout, and here they go. So Uber comes in.
This is great. I like the speed from 6C.
Yeah, this is really nice. And I mean, that's that. They're on point. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Don't give the enemy a chance to pick their classes, to set up the way they want.
And those are really the windows you want to exploit, because even if they delayed like 4 seconds longer, that could be like 400 health worth of buffs, almost 300 health worth of buffs, while the entire team is crit heals. And instead you're catching them as they're like kind of stumbling out of spawn. So really nice play from them. That's how you expect a mid-wipe to turn around. I mean, almost every map will go like that, unless you have to walk for 10 miles, but there you go. Down to pound. Throwing one right back at them, absolutely crushing this mid, almost in a similar fashion. They lose UKM, not a big deal. He's going to be back up in time for this last push, and what we should see from them is the exact same thing that just happened. There should be a scout left on 2. Auburn's going to hide at choke, try to make something happen. He goes a little bit too early though. I think he could have waited. I think he could have waited for the medic there, and that's what he should have done. But he still slows them down a bit, and that's actually going to buy them time to buff on last. So this is going to be a little bit of a different story. They want to go forward, but with Doggles having died there, it's going to be less of a good idea. And as you can see, there's now a buffed heavy. That's the difference. So that one buffed heavy means it's better for DTP to wait a little bit here and get their full 6th before pushing. They still should, like, odds are in their favor on this push, but it's not quite as overwhelming as 6 Cuties' previous round. And here they go. Uber taken in, pop through the door on Doggles. They're zoning people, but their scouts need to get in there, and they need to get some kills, but instead there's a reflect onto Doggles, an absolute dunkage. There's your pop through the door, the team's 10 miles away, and you know, that's that. So once again, fail last push from down to pound. And I mean, prior to this, they were doing those scout buffered pushes and not popping, but for some reason they decided we have uber advantage, let's pop through the door. I don't know. I think they should have let the scouts do a little bit of work first.
Top Shot did pick the medic at the very tail end of that, so they won't lose mid off this.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
And can actually retake 2 really quickly.
Yeah, that's good for them, but it puts them in the same situation they were before with even less of an uber advantage, so let's see if they can execute their push a little bit stronger this time. Just watching. Are they gonna go pre-uber? That would be manly, but I think at this point they should probably wait for it. But no, UKM leading it in, doing a lot of work, and look at this, he hasn't even taken a hit! He lost his buff and that was it. That's the power of the scout, man, in TF2. You just run right into a heavy and a soldier and they miss a couple shots and that's that. Uber not doing much, but it doesn't have to because a scout just ran in and did all the work for them. So there you go, TF2.
I feel like sometimes it can be better to just push without that Uber because six cuties probably thought that the Uber was up and they sort of backed up to kite away from it. And instead, down to pound just took all the ground without having to pop that Uber.
Well, I mean, it's safer, like, in case there is some sort of play on right on the door, it's safer to, like, actually have the Uber for that, but it's the same thing, you don't want to pop blind in the door, and I think that's just the stigma of, you know, if you drop, you're a terrible medic kind of thing, but, like, sometimes, you know, it's better to do that slow push than to pop blind, and, I think we have down to pound getting like super aggressive on their 2 or something right there, and they Decimate's like at their last, but there's a scout at mid. Cause Control F Muffin all kinds of problems. He's zoning him really well with stickies, but this is actually going to turn into a 2 defense. They did kill the medic, which is good, but they need to come back and play up the scout. Oh my god, he nearly got the demo. That was huge. Not quite. Close, no cigar.
Yeah, going back to those last pushes, like you said, like not popping can be great, and what makes it even greater is if you have no threat to the medic, if you lead that scout in there first, and that's what makes it such a great push, as all the advantages of intimidating with none of the disadvantages of getting forced or dying to a sticky trap.
The only way it fails is if your scout like does nothing and like dies really quickly, but normally that doesn't happen because a buff scout, like, you're not going to get directed, most likely. If you are paying attention, you're not going to get directed, so you're going to live for a while. Meanwhile, back into the game here, we had an Uber that came in from oh my god, the right-handed rocket launcher denying that second rocket, but Puff goes down anyways. Doggles in with the chase onto last. 1 rocket on the medic, but that's not going to be any more. Just an attempted play there. Nice try, but they get Spire. Uber is up for Sakura. They can actually, down to pound can just push this because they have numbers advantage, and what they want to do is put a ton of pressure on Force to pop. There's the Force, and DBW just needs to get out of there. I feel like that was a little over aggressive with the combo, but with the demo med there, but also nice job from 6 cuties to like push them so hard, and they also have you know, the scouts behind them to deal with. So interesting play on both sides. I liked what down to pound did, getting the Force there, and I also liked 6 cuties' response to take that Uber so aggressively. Like, they're saying, well, we don't want to pop here, but we're going to have to, so let's just do it and get it over with. So good job from them. They have numbers briefly, but that number is a scout, so it doesn't really matter because he's going to be in at the end of the fight. And now they have to deal with this Uber advantage found by Doggle's team as they're approaching this too. Last time they came from Warehouse, this time big soldier bomb in around the choke. Actually, that's just the roamer. He's dying before the push. Now it comes the Uber from Warehouse once again. Looks like Puff getting caught out in the same spot once again. Sucks for him. Sakura goes down to Control F Muffin. That had to have been a sticky jump or something. But Doggle's donking on the soldiers. He's 9 health, equalizing through last. Big plays, he gets picked up by a scout, but that should be 2 for down to pound. With the demo man on it, even if they have a scout behind them, they're not going to be too worried about that. They can just, you know, wander back and kill him or let a spawn deal with it or whatever. And Sakura just spawning now, so another Uber advantage for down to pound, but like we were kind of saying earlier, this push can work if they just send the scouts and go for it, but Bronze buying some nice time for his team by 1v1ing down Top Shot. Now he's going to find a couple scouts, but he kills Decimate as well. That's really big, actually, because that stops the push, and it gives Ricky room for this big suicide, but he hit that rocket. I thought that missed. Wow. Oh man, they took 2 off that. All credit to Bronze on mid getting that 2k, like solo 2k behind them with 3 people on him. But no, bomb onto Sakura. How did that rocket miss? The ground is so slanted. He finally goes down. And wow, been like tell what's going on. Everybody's dying everywhere. Toggles is equalizing. Scout on him. Ricky's at 2. And as the dust settles, looks like Down to Pound came out ahead. But that was just people throwing their bodies at each other essentially.
So that was excellent communication from Braun saying, I'm behind them and they're looking for me. And even before he got that second pick, 6 Cuties was out into 2, catching a DBW out of position without her team there to support her because they were back chasing Bronze.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, even if he hadn't killed that second person, there were 3 people back there, so that's a 5v3 for the rest of his team, and they took advantage of it. Uber saw out of Sakura, evening up the Uber a little bit, but the damage is pretty high onto 6 Cuties. Looks like they're going to go for it anyways. Very aggressive here. I feel like they think they have advantage, but they don't have advantage, so this could get interesting. They do have a fleeting numbers advantage, and that is Top Shot down, so he's not going to have good health when he comes back into this. I think the Uber call from DBW though is enough to intimidate them back. They don't want to deal with a pop because all the kills they get before the Uber are just going to be invalidated by the enemy Uber stalling things out until the forward spawns are there. So they back up intelligently to their 2. They were just trying to take what they could get, and they decided, well, we can't get it. So good calls from them, and we're going to see. I would be shocked if it was something other than another warehouse push, because Down to Pound seems to favor those, although I say that, and this time it's even Ubers, so maybe we'll see some difference. It's both scouts in the pocket moving through warehouse, so kind of like a half scout buffered Uber push, I guess, something like that, I think. Leading the scouts in, yeah, but they take a direct rocket, so that's probably not too good. They get behind, but yeah, they're not doing well on this. Top Shot's gonna jump in, but they should not use the Uber. They should not use the Uber, they should just back up to mid. And they get the force with it, so, I mean, that was potentially a committed push. If the scouts had gone a bit better, then they could have sent their combo, but because their scouts did not do well, they send their combo back. And now they can defend this mid, and at the end of this fight, their scouts are going to be back in. So that's another strength of ball push, but Doggle's going crazy, jumping way out of the way of his medic, and that's going to open the door for 6 Cuties to do something here. Now, no buffs. DBW missing the first people that came through choke, and that's gonna, I mean, maybe they can jump it, but they can't stop it, so misuse of the Uber there. I think what Down to Pound needed to do was they needed to back up to their choke and then take the Uber back to point, rather than back up to point and try to take the Uber to the enemy choke.
Yes, and they could have also used the Uber aggressively on the choke forward, you know.
Oh yeah.
You have to do one of 2 things. You either take the Uber straight into them, or you back up far enough so that you don't get forced. Just waiting to get forced and then doing something afterwards is gonna end up with an ineffective Uber most of the time. Yeah,
in that situation I would favor going all the way back, just because they needed to delay for their spawns, and at the enemy choke their spawns wouldn't have gotten there in time. But, you know, as you said, that would have been better than kind of, you know, sitting in between. That just like half-committed, lukewarm type of plays is not what works too well. But 6 Cuties, while we're elaborating on about the previous play, they get absolutely wiped coming into 2, and UKM's team picking up the pieces, going on forward. They're running their Uber quickly in towards 4. Scouts are back to cap, so they have to lead this one with their combo. They might need to pop here, but that'd be okay because they get 4. And actually, there's not really all that much pressure on DBW after all.
They're for free because of all that roller spam.
Yeah, and a pick. That's big, because one less person to try to kite this around last. Uber comes in the door. That's okay, they're zoned. They just fight the people on point, it's over. They're not going to be able to get out there. Oh, TF2? 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 TF2.
TF2. I don't understand the rationale of, like, camping that spawn door when you don't see anybody, like, trying to get back in. Like, if somebody is coming out of that spawn door, you have to kill them instantly for it to be worth your attention. And, you know, chances are that it's going to be something like a heavy peeking out, which you can't kill instantly. So you both wasted a lot of time and you wasted a lot of ammo on doing something that contributed nothing towards capping the point.
Yeah.
If you're gonna zone like that, if you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna stick them in spawn, then your scouts have to be on cap much earlier than that.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I thought that was going to work anyways, especially as they started to get cap time towards the end of the Uber there, but, I mean, the Uber effectively didn't do anything. It pushed them in spawn, but it killed nothing, and if you're going to do that, it's like a Badlands play. Uber in top left, they cycle, and then you have to cap before they get out, otherwise that pushes a failure. It's the same concept here.
There are so many things you can do with an Uber. You know, you can get kills, you can get damage to follow up on, or you can gain territory, but gaining territory relies on the rest of your team to take the territory that you're making. And if you don't do that, then what your Uber did nothing. It didn't get any kills, it didn't get any damage because they're just cycling spawn.
Yeah. So once the smoke clears, we're sitting with even Ubers around 2, so no reason for Down to Pound to change what they've been doing. Front-loaded scout pushes are really strong. Here's a suicide coming in through choke. Probably scouts are going to be somewhere around here as well. The suicide's getting nowhere because the medic's way back and there's a nice shoddy defense. Man mode would turn this into a push for 6 cuties, but Down to Pound is going to be expecting it. They're going to push. I do like that. I don't like this soldier. Well, he has Uber on him, but I don't like the amount of damage they took before. This is a really nice Uber from 6 cuties with the amount that they did to the enemy combo. They back up, but I mean, their health is better. At least, yeah, it's still better even after they take that like demo spam. So they could definitely make something happen here, but looks like they're a little bit wary. They do know that the forward spawn is back, and there's control of health packs from Down to Pound, so they probably weren't quite aware of how much of a health lead they had there after that Uber, just because the Down to Pound was forced to flash around so much. But instead we're having Down to Pound now making some aggressive moves. They seem more comfortable playing without Ubers than with them, and here they come. There's some rockets onto the scouts, and the scout cleanup onto the scout. That's the brutality of a ball push. If you're defending it as a scout, it's just like, oh my god, I have to hit these shots or I'm dead, and you're dead. So there you go. They're taking the 4, and whoa, did the medic totally died. I didn't even see where it happened, but they need to cap 2.
They don't want 4.
If they like Uber into
fire.
last and then they cycle spawns and don't cap, I'm gonna be so sad. I mean, they should win this. Like, they have the picks, but their demo's down. Like, it's starting to fall apart because they like failed their coordination on Spire there. They still have numbers though. It might go. It's like all the mistakes.
Here we go.
But it's going. The Uber saw is close enough. Oh god.
That's really too bad for 6 cuties. They had an excellent Uber there, and even a soldier came out of warehouse at the end and put 2 good rockets on a scout. But they just didn't have either the information of how much damage they did, or they didn't have the confidence to go through without actually having a pick. Because like 10 more damage on 2 different targets, and that would have been 2 picks. And you're obviously going to push on 2 picks, but it's a little bit more fuzzy knowing to push when 2 people are that low.
Yeah, they should have had the damage call on the Uber, but here, strong mid from Down to Pound getting a few picks early. It's almost even, but 6 cuties is pushed back to their choke. Really low soldier goes down as well, and there's a scout behind them. That's just sad. Oh,
Micro
nice!
has like 3 Uber soft frags.
Oh my god,
before.
that's insane.
By the way, there's like a minute and a half left.
Minute and a half left. I wish I had timed this from the start, because then I could make these calls more accurately. Decision time. They're going to defend this. They have to, with the way their demo's moving. And he gets the force out, so that's good for them. The spawns for 6 cuties are closer than the spawns for Down to Pound. So 6 cuties has the defensive 2 here. They lose a scout, but it's okay. They can like zone them out before their spawns get back in. And they're just going to have to deal with the repush. So a pick is good. Demo man jumping. They have to deal with that really quickly. They don't get him. That was actually Puff dying, and the cleanup from Down to Pound does make it back in. So 6 cuties not quite able to push Down to Pound far enough away from their point to make a difference, and now barreling down onto the last point is Down to Pound. Decimate finds a rocket into his face for once, and now 6 cuties, just Auburn left, 9 HP, dodges a bunch of shots, but that's going to be that. I paused saying there's no way they're going to win this because it's TF2, but they win it. And that was, what, was that another 5-3?
Yeah, it was.
5-3 match night. Let me bring up the stats on stream. We can talk about it a little bit. The other match is done too. That was 5-1s. We picked the right two to cast. Okay, stats are up on stream. What do we got? What do we got? Lead damage is Control F1 off down to pound. Winning Demo Man top damages, not surprising. Frags also Control F Muffin, so he's doing a lot of work. Decimate doing a ton of damage. 13,000. That's only 207.7 per minute. I guess it was a pretty long match, but I mean, nice consistency out of him. Also picking up 36 frags. So yeah, good work out of the scouts from down to pound there. 6 cuties. Lead damage. Their pocket actually. Demo Man's close behind. Yeah, so no particularly underwhelming performances from anybody. Everybody seems to have played pretty well, but mainly I say that goes to the scouts from down to pound. Just like the way they're able to utilize them and those sort of ball pushes with the scouts running in ahead. Gives them a lot more error room with their combos, so to say. 6 cuties, I think they played well. They played quickly off their advantages. A couple missed opportunities where they could have picked fights, especially that last one on mid when they had like a lot of damage on them and they didn't decide to follow through, and they just opted not to. So they err on the side of more defensive play, which in some places looks like a mistake, but I think, you know, given the misinformation that you have within game, they're just, you know, they're playing smart and just erring on the side of caution rather than being a little bloodthirsty, which I would tend to be. But well played all around and a good game. I kind of think this one was a bit better than the first one, actually. The first one seemed more to be based on mistakes to me than this one, which, I mean, there was the share of mistakes, but I liked the styles a little bit more in here than anywhere else.
I think what a lot of teams can take away from this is that if you just go when things seem even, you know, you can punish mistakes that you don't know are happening. Whereas if you just play super defensive, then you're gonna miss out on a lot of those times when you could have just rolled them. And I think that's something we did really well, you know, like those times when you magically know that they don't have Uber, right?
Yeah. When you have no idea, but you're just playing close because, I mean, why not play close? And then sometimes you catch bad building. Like, even if you think you're even Uber, if you just go right when you get it, if they didn't build as well as you did, then they're done. Or like the same thing. And this is actually, just on a personal note, I enjoy playing these styles more as playing medic, because if the other medic does not buff, ideally, like if he's not hitting the scout buffs at the right time and the scouts are like coming for buffs at the wrong time or something like that, and you go like right after you do a buff wave, then sometimes you just run into unbuffed players and you demolish them. So, I mean, there's a lot of fleeting things like that that are harder to read in game than just pressing tab and seeing who's up or counting the Uber and assuming that they build it in 43 seconds or 44 seconds on average. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, we saw something similar to that in the previous game where Watch the Throne saw some ground in middle and it was 6v6 and it said, hey, we see some ground, let's go. And the enemy team had a sniper which they could have punished, but, you know, they unfortunately lost their medic to a lone bombing soldier.
TF2. That's all you can say at the end of the day.
Yes, indeed.
So I think that's going to wrap us up for tonight as my voice starts to die out, and at the risk of putting you to sleep with me waning on about this and that, about advantages and this, that, whatever. It's all about air shots and TF2, so there you go. Thanks for watching.
Unfortunately, you know, we saw a lot of good stuff from Watch the Throne and 6 cuties, but just the sheer DM of I Am Illuminati and down to pound winning those mids was too much for them to overcome.
Yep. And well, with that, we're signing out. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the cast, or if you're checking this out on YouTube later, I hope you enjoyed the VOD. I hope you learned something and maybe you can take it to your own game or what have you. In any case, peace out.
TF2.